welcome back to part 2 of the Book One Cozy's Club chapter by chapter for Murder in the Margins, the first book in the Open Book Mystery series by Margaret Loudon. I'm Di, and this is my audio-only reading vlog for this book. Today I will be reading chapters 4 through 6 and sharing my thoughts with you along the way. Due to the nature of this reading vlog, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't read these chapters yet, I suggest that you not listen to this recording until you do. If you would prefer to hear my general thoughts on this book in its entirety, keep an eye out for my Book One Cozy's Club series First Impressions video, which will be posted sometime after the reading vlogs for this book have commenced. So, how is everybody doing this evening? I am a little tired. But I am going to dive into chapter 4 in a bit. I'm looking forward to finding out more about the state in which the body was found. I'm very curious about the pearl that India put in her pocket. And yeah, just getting to know our amateur sleuths. Investigative style, like I said before, is very important to me, so I'm curious to see how Penn is going to go about investigating this murder. So I'm going to dive into chapter 4 right now, and I will be back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 4, and I found it interesting the little bit about Penn calling 911 and nobody answered, because you call 999 in Britain. I thought that I had heard something in a documentary last year that I watched saying that no matter where you are in the world, if you call the emergency number that you're familiar with, it'll get redirected to the local emergency number. I don't know. That logic makes sense to me, because you don't really know when you go elsewhere, I guess, what the emergency number is. I don't know. I haven't traveled abroad, so I don't know if that's something that you're told when you arrive. I would think that it wouldn't be, but I don't know. Like I said, I've never traveled abroad before, so I found that bit of information interesting. Of course, we meet the guy that she almost got into an accident with. Turns out he is the police officer, of course. I have to believe that there's going to be some kind of relationship between the two, just being familiar with how cozy mysteries go. We already know that she's not very attached to her on-again, off-again boyfriend in the States. But that's pretty much all that I have to say about that chapter. I was most intrigued about the emergency number and that it didn't connect. So, she didn't say it didn't connect. She just said no one answered. So it could just ring and ring and ring. But yeah, so I'm going to get back to chapter 5, and then I will be back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 6. Very interesting that Charlotte is the one that is getting Penn to investigate the murder. It's a different take than what I thought was going to happen. I thought Penn would be inspired to investigate because she was an acquaintance of Charlotte, so I thought that we would get more of a glimpse into why Charlotte is being treated as a suspect. Something else that was interesting in these last 2 chapters was the fact that this book is reminding me that I really need to read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It's been a book that's been on my to-read list for a while, and just recently I kind of feel like the universe is nudging me to finally pick it up. I saw something on television. I believe my friend Lee had talked about it in one of her videos. I know Lee's read Rebecca a couple times, or a few times. And now this mention of Rebecca in this book. So I think the universe is trying to tell me to go ahead and finally read that. So maybe I should take that into consideration. The little mentions about the sandwiches they were served right after they had talked to the police officer, it reminded me that I completely forgot to mention how shocked I was about the pickle and cheese sandwiches that Penn had in yesterday's chapters. I had never heard of a pickle and cheese sandwich. I'm not one that enjoys pickles, so that doesn't sound appetizing to me at all, but I do find it interesting that that's a thing. Like I'd never heard of it before. So anyway, so far I am enjoying this one. Even though we're not getting a lot of information, I'm still inspired to read further, which is a good thing. So even though we weren't able to see Penn actually do some investigating in these chapters as I hoped, I believe we will get some of that in tomorrow's chapters. So I'm looking forward to that and possibly getting some little nuggets of information in regards to maybe a motive, even though one has already been presented in these chapters. But sometimes motives that are brought up early are just to divert your attention away, even though it does seem like a plausible one that was brought up in these chapters. But yeah, looking forward to some investigation, and that's pretty much all I've got for today's chapters. So let me know what you thought of today's chapters down in the comments below, and I will be back with you again tomorrow to discuss chapters 7 through 9. I hope you're all having a great evening, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.